What's up everyone, my name's Alpha and today we're back with a pretty easy challenge actually. Today we're on Radical Red 4.1 and today we're gonna actually try something I've never tried out on Radical Red. We're gonna try to beat Radical Red using only legendary Pokemon. Now doesn't seem that hard of a challenge, but we want to see how easy Radical Red Hardcore mode, the hardest ROM hack mode ever, and we want to see how that gets destroyed by legendary Pokemon. Now, what constitutes as a legendary Pokemon? Honestly, there is definitions. The legendary Pokemon and mythical Pokemon and Ultra Beasts are different. But honestly, I'm not going to make an Ultra Beast only video. So I'm just going to put them all together. Mythicals, Legendaries, and Ultra Beasts are all the same thing to me. And they're all legendary Pokemon. Steel Valley isn't a legendary Pokemon, so we won't use them. But everything else is a legendary Pokemon. That's how I always categorized them as a kid, because everything was just legendary. If you have a movie about you, you're a legendary Pokemon to me. Besides that, the species will be randomized and each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thanks so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments down below and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. Now, to begin off, I want to check every single region starter since my randomized species is on, and honestly, each of the species are randomized. And lucky enough, I had a Genesect. I was like, what? Genesect? I was like, okay, that's a good start. One of the only Pokemon that gets download and actually gets to use it in a hardcore mode without actually being banned. So maybe they should have changed that. But anyway, we had Genesect as our first Pokemon, and then in the grass immediately in Route 1, we got Calyrex. That's not the only thing. We go back, catch the Calyrex. There's also Kubfu in Route 1 and Kyurem in Route 3. I'm like, what? And we go back into Route 20, like 4 or something, south of Pallet Town, and we got Ogerpon first in Route 22. But then we got, look at this, we got Cosmog underneath Pallet Town. We got both the Cosmogs for sure. We're gonna evolve that later, and then from there we're gonna have no troubles against Brendan. We do lose a Pokemon or two, but you know what? Doesn't really matter to me. I have a full set of crazy Pokemon on my team. Urshifu was definitely a legendary Pokemon, right? At the very least, it's a mythical. I'm pretty sure. But either way, we make our way into Faulkner in Pewter City, and we destroy them. Again, maybe Kyurem's a little stronger than I expected. Kyurem, I thought it was going to be really weak. It carried us in the first fight against Faulkner. And then from there, we're going to face off against Brock. We're going to start the battle off against Brock using my Ogerpon. We're going to attack his Hippopotas, but he goes out to his room. I go out into my Kyurem. One-shot him with a Dragon Rage. I'm like, oh, that thing should be banned. Actually, Freeze Try takes 2 shots to kill the leap before my Kyurem goes down, but that's fine. I go out to my Calyrex. Calyrex is not going to do a lot against the Cacnea, so I go out to my Genesect. Of course, Genesect is going to destroy the Cacnea. I should have stayed and knocked out the Hippopotas. I went out to my Calyrex and knocked out the Hippopotas. I just chipped down the Arcane because at this point, I basically won the fight. And then I go out to my Genesect, knock out the Arcane, and knock out the Lunatone as we beat down Brock. Obviously, very easy fight, and we still haven't blacked out yet, so we're gonna keep moving on. We make our way into Route 4, get some new Pokemon. I'm not gonna show every legendary Pokemon, we're gonna do some updates here and there, but we went through Route 4, and the best thing about Route 4 is we get a Water Stone, and we have a Kubfu, so we're gonna evolve it into Rapid Strike Urshifu, which is the most broken Pokemon ever. That's really broken, as we also get a bunch of legendary Pokemon. We get ourselves a Keldeo, a Walking Wake, and also our Marshadow, which is gonna be one of my favorite Pokemon to use. I forgot Marshadow was in the game, honestly. I was like, what? Marshadow? I gotta catch it. So I got it immediately. It's gonna be on my team for a very long time. As from there, we're gonna move on and face off against the scientists in Mount Moon. Clear through them pretty easily, and then face off against Archer. Again, Genesect is one of my favorite Pokemon. Maybe I should have stopped using him, but it's just really fun to use. We unlock the Move Relearner, which we really don't get a lot of mileage out of, because a lot of legendary Pokemon, I don't learn that great of moves in the past. So from there, we're going to move on into Cerulean City and face off against the gym leader herself. We're going to face off against Misty. Start the battle off against her using Regieleki. This is going to be easy. So we go for Shockwave against the Politoed. Dodge the Toxic, which really didn't need the luck. But from there, she switched out to her Clockster. I go out to my Kyurem. Get Toxic, but Kyurem, it's Kyurem. It's going to knock out the Clockster and then chip down the Toxicroak for us. And then go out to my Calyrex, which will knock out the Toxicroak. Unfortunately, I can't actually fuse the Calyrex forms, the Glacier and Calyrex, so can't use that one, but lucky enough we don't really need to. As from there, I go out to my Regieleki, paralyze the Ludicolo, and then switched out. I don't know. Okay, I switched out. He outspeed Swift Spin Ludicolo. That's how crazy Regieleki is. I go out to my Ogerpon, I chip down the Ludicolo, and then go out to my Regieleki once again to knock him out, and outspeed the Mantine, Thunder Wave it, paralyze it, and then chip it down with Shockwave. From there, it still stays paralyzed as I knock him out to low HP. Go out into my Genesect, trying to get an attack boost from Metal Claw, but from there, he's going to switch out to Restore Me. I go for Fury Cutter. It's going to knock me out. Spur me, it's fine. I go out to my Guzzlord, knock him out with a Bite, and we end up beating down Misty. Oh, with this Polytone in the back, we still end up beating down Misty. and get second gym badge without dying yet. So from there we make our way into the Nugget Bridge, clear through the Nugget Bridge pretty easily, and then from there I don't believe there's anything great. I got a Heatran, which is alright. I go out to Cerulean City. I believe I already I did get my first blackout against this trainer, and also in the SSN against Brendan once. So you know, kind of anticlimactic. I thought I was gonna go further without blacking out, but it went pretty far. We face off against Brendan, beat down Brendan in the SSN, and face off against Lieutenant Surge. First try Surge, because we're kind of great. We go out, use my Heatran, my physical attacking Heatran against him, against this Rotom Frost. We're able to Fire Fang into him and then force him to his Ampharos, which he gets burned. I'm like, really unneeded. I go out into my Calyrex next and just chip him down, eventually knock him down to red HP. He knocked me out, but I go out to my Shifu, Brick Break to knock him out, then goes out to his Raichu, which I go out to my Guzzlord. Guzzlord's able to just bite twice and knock him out. Just easily knock him out as the Polnut comes out. It's going to knock out my Guzzlord. As I go out to my Ogerpon, Ogerpon is able to counter and knock out the Polnut. He then goes out to his Electrode. I go out into my Heatran, just take the explosion as he goes out to his Hitmonlee. He's getting close combat and knock me out, but I go out to my Shifu, get two-shot him with Break Break easily, and then his final opponent will be the Rotom in the back, which we Break Break once again, knock him out as we beat down Lieutenant Surge pretty easily. From there, we're going to make our way into Rock Tunnel and get ourselves a Giratina, which I cannot underestimate. I can't show this in full because I don't have all the clips of it. Giratina, most resourceful Pokemon I ever got. It is so tanky, and it does not die ever. From there, we're going to make our way into the end of Rock Tunnel, and you can show off my my arsenal in the back. You'll get all the great legendary Pokemon I got from every route we went through. And from there, we're going to face off against this trainer in before Lavender Town, which isn't too difficult. It's basically a Sun team, but we have a bunch of legendaries, so it didn't matter. We also make our way into Cerulean City after beating this trainer, and then we're going to face off against the gym leader in Cerulean City. We're going to face off against Erica. We start the battle off against her using my Giratina. We're going to Aura Sphere into her Ogerpon, which is like, alright, I two-shot her, and then her next Pokemon will be a Halucha, which I'm like, okay, this thing's kind of scary. Go out into, not the greatest play, I go out to my Articuno, Ice Shard, and then Freeze Drive for some reason, just trying to sack it, and then from there, her Slowbro comes out, I knock at the Halucha, which is kind of funny. Then I go out to my Giratina once again, take the Thunder Wave, but then she switched out to her Sceptile. Go back out into my Articuno, which will take a Draco Barrage and an Ice Shard, and then it's going to let him knock himself out with another Draco Barrage. As from there, I go back out to my Giratina against the Slowbro. I'm chipping it down pretty easily. I'm about to kill it. Unfortunately, she goes out to her Toxicity once I stop using Earth Power, but it works out as I'm still able to knock him out. As the next Pokemon will be a Kartana, I'm like, ooh, this thing's kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. I go out to my Heatran, and looking up, I survived the cut, and then survive a Sacred Sword, Fire Fang to knock him out at least, and then from there, her final opponent will be a Slowbro. Chipped it down with my really weak Heatran, but eventually I do knock him out as we beat down Erica. Get ourselves the 4th gym badge in the game, make our way into the Cerulean's game corner, and also the prize side, and we get a bunch of legendary Pokemon you would not believe. We got Moltres, it's a shiny Moltres that's just shiny color as Galarian Moltres, but it's just a regular Moltres, a Keldeo, and Meloetta. I don't think we use too many of them, honestly. They're okay Pokemon. I don't use them too often, but from there we're going to move on into the basement of the game corner, face off against Giovanni. We can make our way into Lavender Tower, get ourselves the Pokeflute, and then head back into Saffron City, go through Silphco, and then face off against a rival. Rival fight wasn't too difficult, and surprisingly so. Actually, I guess unsurprising since I have a bunch of legendary Pokemon. We cleared through Archer and Ariana as Brandon wasn't too bad of a teammate this time. Wasn't too bad. As from there we move out, face off against Giovanni once again, and Giovanni was I think this is probably the hardest fight. I guess I had two or three blackouts at most, but we still lose a few times. We also got stuck in Silphco. We didn't have Dig. It's kind of funny. From there, we're going to move out using the Crossmo for the first and only time as we face off against Chuck. Get ourselves the Focus Sash. And then from there, we're going to move on and face off against Sabrina. Sabrina, like always, she has infinite Trick Room and infinite Mystic Terrain, so it's going to be a little annoying. She's also a double battle fight, so we're going to start the battle off against her using my Urshifu Rapid Strike and Single Strike, something like that. Either way, I just want to go for Aqua Jet with my Water type Urshifu, let it get knocked out with the Mystic Explosion as the other one survives. From there, I'm going to go out to my Marshadow. Marshadow is the only Pokemon that could really handle Jellicent for us as we go for Shadow Sneak. Survive? Well, we do not survive the double attack from Jellicent and Iron Hands. Lucky enough, I get a close combat against the Iron Hands and then go out into my Giratina to Shadow Sneak and knock out the Jellicent. And then from there, it's going to Ice Punch me for some reason. I chipped him out even more, and eventually we're going to be able to just chip down the Iron Hands with my Giratina. As the Magearna comes out, it's going to eventually knock out my Urshifu and also my Giratina, but I go out to my Moltres. She then then goes out to a Glacier, which I'm like, this is kind of scary. Mochas is also really weak. It didn't even knock out the Magirna, so I'm like, wish I had a Typhlosion or something. But lucky enough, Glacier goes for a Swords Dance. We're able to just knock out the Magirna and then chip down the Glacier in the 2v1. So able to knock out my Lunala. Pretty scary, but we're able to survive with a Focus Sash and knock out the Glacier as we beat down Sabrina, and we don't have to fight that again. That was really scary. I think we blacked out at least twice against that. So from there, we're gonna move on into a Fuchsia City, down Cycling Road, clear through this last trainer, and also we got some nice encounters. We got ourselves a Zacian, which I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I wanted the full Intrepid Blades Zacian, which I don't know how to get. So I tried to search it up. Did not get an answer. If you guys do know, please let me know in the comments. It probably won't be used at all because I don't think I'll use Zacian ever again. Also got a Ray. So Ray is really cool. Unfortunately, you can't get Dragon Ascent. Developer didn't expect you to get it, so there's no way for you to get Mega Ray, so that's unfortunate. From there, we also get a use of Zekrom, which I just never leveled up. Zekrom's my favorite out of the Gen 5 Legendary, so unfortunate, but I didn't get to use Zekrom at all. We also face off against Brendan in front of, well, I lied, I used Zekrom right here, but you can see how useless is it. But we face off against Brendan in front of the Safari Zone, and then in the Safari Zone, there's some good Pokemon, I believe. There's a Landorus, which is cool, Tapu Koko, which is really nice. There's some decent Pokemon. Don't really use too many of them, as from there we're going to go back and face off against the first 3 gym leaders to unlock Fuchsia City's gym, and we face off against Brock. Brock's pretty easy, and then face off against Misty. Misty's pretty easy. We also have Airlock on our Rayquaza, so you know what, it's pretty free. As from there we're going to move on and face off against Lieutenant Surge, and Surge, surprisingly, was pretty free. We also have the Paradox forms, which I don't know if you guys consider legendaries, but they're based off their base Pokemon are legendary, so I would assume they're legendaries. From there, we didn't even get Miraidon or Koraidon. That would have been cool to have. You know what? Maybe I do this video again later. Anyways, we face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're gonna face off against Koga next. We're gonna start the battle off against Koga using my Stack Attacker. We're gonna reset. Yeah, I know, I gotta still cheese him with legendary Pokemon. You know, maybe I didn't need to, but it kind of felt right. I used Stack Attacker, went for Iron Heads, and knocked out the Tapu Lele. From there, he's gonna switch out to his Krookodile. I have a full team ready for him, so I go out to my Landorus and then double pivot. I go out into my Tapu Bulu and then double pivot again to catch the Toxicity because it's the poison type. I survive a Boom Burst, Earthquake to knock him out. Hoopa comes out, he's gonna knock me out. I go out to my Genesect. Genesect X's there, one-shots him. Lucky enough, I have Focus Dash on, so I survived the Z move. Knock out the Hoopa Unbound. He comes out, he's gonna knock me out, but I do have a Guzzlord in the back, which just counter it completely. He switched out to his Nidoking, which I go out into my Lunala. Lunala kind of just cheese him, so he has to switch back out to his Shiyu and then sticks with it. So I go out to my Guzzlord, 2 Bolos would knock him out. As from there, he goes out to his Krookodile. I go out into my Tapu Bulu, and Tapu Bulu, even though it has no Grassy Search, it still destroys Krookodile pretty easily. And then from there, sacrifice it, go out to my Lunala, knock out the Nidoking. So looking at the moment, I have 3 Pokemon left. I really didn't need to cheese the Tapu Lele, but it's always fun to do. As from there, we're going to move on and face off against Price next. Price, pretty easy fight. We beat him down. And then from there, we make our way into Seafoam Island. We get ourselves the choice card from Price and then get ourselves a Ho-Oh. And also a Portable, but Ho-Oh is the better one to get. So once we get Ho-Oh, we can get ourselves a Dream Patch and then get Phoenix Down. They didn't ban Phoenix Down because they didn't assume Ho-Oh was going to be a Pokemon you get. Phoenix Down in the hardcore mode is really broken, and you'll see why in a little bit. So Ho-Oh's on my team forever. Now we go back into Cinnabar Island. We're gonna face off against May. May's pretty easy. We beat down May, make our way through the mansion. You know, if Ho-Oh's on my team, I really love Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh over Lugia all the time. From there, we're gonna make our way into Blaine's gym and face off against his gym trainers pretty easily, and then face off against Blaine himself. So we start the battle off against Blaine using my Giratina against the Sandy Shock. Go for an Earth Power. He then switched out into his Venusaur. Go out to my Rayquaza next. Rayquaza is able to go for a fly, knock him out because I have Airlock, nullifies his Chlorophyll. He then goes out to his Sandy Shock, which honestly shouldn't be scared of, but go out to my Giratina. Giratina does not have anything to answer this, so I just sacrifice my Giratina to the Z move. Go out into my Rayquaza next, which will knock out the hole into his Phoenix form, and then Extreme Speed to knock him out to low HP. Go out to my Marshadow to knock him out with a Shadow Sneak. His next one will be a Standing Shock, which I do chip down with a close combat, and then chip down his Charizard X as well. I then go out into my Guzzlord. Sucker Punch, he's gonna not knock me out, but a 2-stock punch would knock him out. As from there, he goes out to his Great Tusk. Go out to my Lunala, Psychic to knock out the Great Tusk. Do I even use my Ho-Oh? Wait a second. I forgot I don't use my Ho in this. Anyways, he goes out to his Walking Way. I Moongeist beam him, chip him down a little more. And then from there I go out to my Guzzler to knock out the Walking Wake and also the Standing Shock. I don't even get to use my hole in this, but either way, we make our way into Cerulean Cave next, and we face off against Archer and Ariana. Pretty easy fights, as you can see. And yeah, Guzzler, it's really broken. Go out to my Marshall to knock out the Mawile, and we beat down Ariana, clear through him, and then we face off against Giovanni. In this fight, you can see Ho-Oh being a menace. It's really good Pokemon. I was really confused why the Phoenix Down didn't work here, but I promise you it does work. Either way we move on, Lunala is really broken. Yeah. We clear through Giovanni. Face off against Claire next. We're going to start the battle off against Claire using my Solgaleo against her Shuckle. She gets Sticky Webs up, but I still knock him out with a Sunsteel Ram. Her next opponent will be Eternus. I Metal Burst into him, didn't even knock him out, so it's going to knock me out. I go out to my Marshall to Shadow Sneak and knock him out. Her next opponent will be a Necrozma. Ultra Necrozma is kind of scary, so I go out into my Guzzlord, Sucker Punch into him as he knocks me out, but I go out to my Marshall, Shadow Sneak to knock him out. Her next opponent will be an Archelodon, which I close combat and one-shot it. And then her next opponent after that will be a Magearna. Don't want to give it his boost, so I go out to my Ho-Oh, survive the Thunderbolt, Sacred Fire into him. She then knocks me out with a Thunderbolt, which is fine because I revive myself. Sacred Fire to knock him out, and then from there, her final opponent will be a Roaring Moon. I recover off the damage, eventually knock him out with the Sacred Fire, right? No, actually no, but it's still really cool. I have a second life, and then from there I go out to my Marshall, Shadow Sneak to knock out the Roaring Moon as we beat down Claire pretty easily. From there we're gonna move on and face off against her rival in Ride 22. Very nice fight. I mean, kind of got really tricky at the end. I had to sack a bunch of health and then Sucker Punch to knock him out, but it was still fun. It got really close at the end, and then face off against Brendan. Brendan's a pretty easy fight comparatively, and yeah, we just spam Ho-Oh because it's one of my favorite Pokemon. One of the last Pokemon I can get in here is going to be a Darkrai in Victory Road. We also got a Cobalion, or like the Paradox form of Cobalion, which isn't too great. But either way, we make our way into the Elite Four. We face off against the Shedinja, and then find out that Lorelei is going to use her Ice Team again. We never see the Water Team anymore. But that means we got to set up our team accordingly. Our team is actually going to be pretty standard, actually. I've used a lot of these Pokemon before. Solgaleo, Lunala, obviously Broken Duo, Ho-Oh or Shifu Rapid Strike, Marshall we haven't used, and Guzzlord of course, which is kind of cool. From there, we're going to face off against the Elite Four, start the battle off against Lorelei using my Lunala and Urshifu. Now, Urshifu is here to close combat into Glaceon. We have a Choice Scarf on Lunala to Ice Beam and knock out the Landorus. Pretty good turn. As from there, her next opponent will be a Tapu Fini. I switch on my Urshifu because it's Intimidate down. I go to my Solgaleo and then kept going for Ice Beams for some reason. Either way, I go for Sunsteel Ram against the Tapu Fini. It's gonna knock out both my Solgaleo and also Lunala, so I go out to my Ho-Oh and also my Marshadow. Marshadow is able to knock out the Glaceon, and then Brave Bird from my Ho-Oh to knock out the Tapu Fini. Her next two Pokemon will be Kyurem White and also Xianpao. Two Pokemon I didn't find in my entire journey, but we're able to chip them down both to low HP as I go out to my Guzzlord, and then from there I can Sacred Fire and knock out the Kyurem White, and also Sucker Punch to knock out the Xianpao. Her final opponent will be an Abomasnow, which I do have my Phoenix form on, so I'm able to revive myself, Sacred Fire to one-shot the Abomasnow as we beat down Lorelei. You can see how it's kind of broken. From there, we're going to move on and face off against Bruno next. We'll start the battle off against Bruno using my Urshifu against his Urshifu. You know what, I love the clone fight. Surging Strike to knock him out as he wastes a turn going for close combat. That was going to outspeed his Zacian. I was wrong. But from there, I go out to my Ho-Oh, Sacred Fire to knock out the Zacian, and then he goes out to his Necrozma. I Sacred Fire into him. He's going to knock me out with a Sunsteel Strike. Revive myself, outspeed him, knock him out pretty easy. We knock out the two biggest threats on his team. From there, he goes out to his Hawlucha. I Sacred Fire into him, burn him, and then he knocks me out. He's sick of me. I go out to my Marshall. I wish I went for Spectral Thief here, but I didn't. Shadow Sneak to knock him out, but then I Spectral Thief into the Iron Valiant twice, survive the Moonblast, and then knock him out. And then Shadow Sneak into the Medicham. It's gonna knock me out, but at this point, it doesn't matter. Sucker Punch from my Guzzler to knock out the Medicham as we beat down Bruno, and from there, we can move on and face off against Agatha. We're gonna start the battle off against Agatha using my Urshifu. We're gonna deny Rock Surging Strike to knock out the Crocodile. Her next opponent is gonna be a Calyrex, which obviously I go out to my Guzzlord. Guzzlord dodged the Expanding Force and then crunch into him to knock him out in one shot. As we beat down the Calyrex, her next opponent will be a Yveltal. Here I did some wacky play. I sacrificed my Guzzlord. I'm like, okay. Then go out into my Lunala. I'm like, this is not a good play. She then goes out to her Victini. Go out to my Marshall. She goes for a boost. And then since I have a Focus Sash on, I went for Spectral Thief. I take all the boosts from the Victini, and I'm like, this is the greatest play I've ever done. Took the Victini Z move, which I can't use, and then used it against her. Knock out the Victini, outspeed the Mewtwo X with the plus attack, knock him out. Her next opponent will be a Yveltal. I have close combat. I'm not scared of anything. Knock out the Yveltal as well. and then the Flutter Mane outspeeds me, which is unfortunate, but honestly, did a lot of work with that. Go out to my Ho-Oh to knock out the Flutter Mane. As from there, we beat down Agatha, and now we move on to the next fight. We face up against Lance next. We start the battle off against Lance using my Shifu. Proc 2 layers of Toxic Spikes on Mike Brown, doesn't really matter. We knock out the Glamora. His next opponent's gonna be a Dragonite. I go out into Lunala. I get poisoned, that's fine. Break my Shadow Shield, but go for 2 Ice Beams, should be fine, right? Yeah, she forced out the Melmetal afterwards as I go out into my Shifu, take the double Iron Bash, and the close combat into him as he survives, but not for long. I go out to my Ho-Oh, which was Sacred Fire, and knock him out as his next opponent will be a Prime with Dialga. Sacred Fire into him, burns him. I go out to my Marshadow because of Aurora Time. He goes to sleep, but I still get a bunch of close combats into him, and then eventually he's gonna knock me out with Aurora Time. Go out to my Lunala once again, Moongeist Beam to knock out the Dialga. As the Rayquaza comes out, it's gonna knock out my Lunala. I go out to my Solgaleo, which will Metal Burst into the Rayquaza, knock him out. Next mode is going to be Arceus. It's going to knock out my poor Solgaleo. Do have my Ho in the back with also its Phoenix mode on. So I go for a Recover and then Sacred Fire into the Arceus. Burn it. Sacred Fire again. It's gonna try to knock me out. Didn't even work. I'm BMing it. I'm Recover stalling to make sure I get full HP as it dies to burn. His final opponent will be a Dragonite. I outspeeded Brave Bird to knock him out. And I'm so glad Ho is doing so much work. As from there, we move on into the final fight in the game. We're going to face out against Blue, our rival. We'll start the battle off against him using my Marshadow. Focus Sash Marshadow should be fine as I go for a Spectral Thief against the Kyogre. That's under half, but I survive with a Focus Sash. Close combat to knock him out, so it works out. His next opponent is going to be a G-Max Eternatus. I'm pretty sure I should sack here. Do I sack here? I do sack my Marshadow. Go out to my Lunala. Hypnosis into him, and then go out to my Guzzlord. Okay, I'm cooking. Draco Brush into him as he stays asleep, and then knock him out with 2 Draco Brush. His next one will be an Arceus Steel, which I'm like, should have had an Arceus Extreme Killer. Go out to my Shifu, and Shifu was able to close combat one shot, and I'm like, okay, this thing's broken. From there, I go out to my Solgaleo against the Xerneas. As it's gonna Geomancy up, I go for a Metal Burst, survive the Focus Blast easily. Metal Burst doesn't one-shot it, so it's gonna actually knock me out. That's fine. I go out to my Guzzlord to Suck Punch it. It's gonna knock him out, and then his next opponent is gonna be a Swampert. Swampert does not scare me at all as I go for a few Bodos and go out to my Urshifu. Rapid Strike into him as he's getting chip me down. I go for a Surging Strike once again to knock him out, and his final opponent will be a Walking Way. Chip him down with a little bit of Surging Strike, but I go out to my Ho. Brave Bird into him to knock him out as I revive Phoenix Form, Brave Bird, and knock him out. This thing is so broken, I love it. And that is the end of Radical Red 4.1 as we beat down Blue and beat down the hardcore mode using only legendary Pokemon. Now honestly, this was not a challenge at all. It was really fun. It was really fun using broken Pokemon in a really hard game mode. And honestly, I think the final time was 3 hours and 15 minutes. It's one of my fastest, but it's not my fastest, honestly. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It was pretty fast. I was also messing around. I caught a bunch of Pokemon. I have like a box and a half of Pokemon, so maybe that slowed me down. But honestly, it was alright. You know, I had faster runs in the past, but it was pretty fun to do. I would recommend you guys try out this challenge if you guys can. But anyways, that'll be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name is Alpha, and I hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.